gentlemen, it's me, your boy Magasso, back again with another interview, and this time I have a doozy. I got one of my favorite friends here in the Bahamas. Now, listen, I can tell you all this right now, okay? It's my disclaimer, okay? But first, y'all have to come to me for finder's fee, all right? I can tell you this now. I can make sure he charge you finder's fee. If y'all this game on PC, and y'all need like some people, someone reliable who could actually fix the shit. They could bleep this out in the edit, and I don't care. If you want someone who can actually fix the thing, if anything wrong with your PC and you call, let's do it. That's all I can say. I ain't gonna say no more. But I want my finder's fee. I charge him $50 per finder's fee. Thank you very much. None other than my boy Alex Butler right here, ladies and gentlemen. That's my boy Alex Butler right here, the man himself. And I have to say, it is an honor to be interviewing you because this man has I don't know I didn't know that the FGC in the Bahamas was a thing until I started going to tournaments that was held by him, and Gerard was his name. That was his name. And it was the most fun experience because I had never had an experience, at a tournament ever in my life. And I have to say thank you for that. So Alex, you have the floor. I need you to tell everybody who you are and what you into. That's it. I ain't talk.
Okay. All right. So, I'm Alex Butler, aka Gamer Tag, Cool from the Bahamas. The game that I started off with before I started the whole FGC stuff was Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I, like most people, I started playing Smash when it first came out in 99, because that's when Super Smash Bros. For 64 came out. If you were young at that time, and I was in grade 5, you saw the commercial with Donkey Kong punching Mario while he was trying.
Yeah, I remember that.
It started off with the little puppets with the you and me and you and something. It's like something that's going wrong.
That was the Smash Brothers on Nintendo 64.
64, boom.
I remember that.
Something has gone bad in the world of
so
Nintendo.
And
I was like, wait, that's Mario.
I remember that, yes.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, and I have a 64.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is the game that I'm going to get. I don't know how I can get it, but I can get this game and I can play it. Because I was already playing games like Super Mario 64, Mario Kart. And I always used to picture Mario kind of coming off the cart and being able to move around and interact with the other characters. I don't know why. I was like, can I park this car and just walk around with Mario? But then when they bring out Super Smash Bros. 65, it's like, okay, cool, let me jump on this. Because believe it or not, most people think like it was Smash that got me into like fighting games, and it wasn't. Before there was Smash, there was PlayStation and 64, and PlayStation had Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Bloody Raw 1, 2, and 3. So I actually started off playing like Street Fighter, and then Bloody Raw, and then there was Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. There was Dragon Ball Z Final Bout. So those were games that I really started off with in terms of like fighting games. Smash was just the game that I fell in love with, but those other games were the games that I actually played a lot. I didn't really play them really with friends a lot. So like whenever I play fighting games, I just like to jump into like one player mode and fight the computers. But when it came to like fighting people, I never would really try. Smash was the first game where I fought people and was actually like, no, I gotta beat this person. Because usually if I play Street Fighter, I just want to throw a duke in and all you can and have a stomp. I didn't really care about can I beat this guy or not. I just would do all you can,
Yeah.
Smash was like, no, but you gotta beat people in this. But then we gotta move on to Melee, because Melee came out in 2001. I was in grade 8 when that dropped. My neighbor who lived behind me got it, because we used to call him Rich Boy O'Neill. He got Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I used to play it with him. And I did not. Might be a surprise to a lot of people. I hated Melee when I first played it. It was not like 64.
What?
Yeah, I hated Melee. When I played Melee, I was like, oh, this game got too many characters and they fall too fast. The sound effects aren't the same. Yeah, because I was like, the sound effects don't sound the same. Because it's Smash 64. If you play Mario, you could do down air, down air, down air, into down B, into up B. Like, you could do stuff like that. But in Melee, it's like, you try that, Mario touches the ground too quickly. So I'm like, I hate this game, but it have more characters. So that was like one of those games where I mostly enjoyed playing the game casually. Like I'd go in one player mode and stuff. And 64 was the one that I really did love playing with people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fall in love with Melee until 2006 when I got the internet. Because even though I used to play Melee casually with my friends, I was
Mm-hmm.
beating them at the game. So it was like I always felt like Melee had more to it, but then I was like, 64 is my game. We got the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And with the internet came YouTube, and with YouTube came I gotta search white boys. Because it was like I don't know why with Bahamian people, but we always
uh,
have this imagination that white people are just a lot better than stuff at us. Like
at
that's
video
how I
games,
thought too.
man. Listen, we could talk
You
about that for
you know what
hours,
I'm
but let's.
talking about, right? We
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
that
yeah.
internalized
Yep.
racism, like the
Mm.
white boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you think of white people, you think of money, you think of success. So I'm like, okay, I gotta see how I stack up to the white boys because I
Mm.
beat all my friends. So I just type white boys playing melee, and
Okay, go ahead.
listen, I don't know if it's white boys playing melee, but
uh,
if I can talk to that old computer, that's already gone a little while. It's
uh,
definitely white boys playing Smash. And then I saw MLG. I saw MLG, and the MLG had a circuit, and the
mm,
circuit had melee. It didn't have 64. I was like, oh, why they have melee? This game is the worst one. They should have had 64.
mm,
And like as I watch it, I saw like they was doing things I've never seen in melee. I was like, wait, how they moving like this? Because I've
mm,
never seen these characters move this quickly. I'm like, if I try this, I move in slow.
mm,
And so like when I saw them playing like that, and I saw the person doing commentary in the background, and I saw the people in the crowd, and it was like, yeah, this is Ken versus BC Chris, and this is MLG, and they're playing for 50 grand. It's like 50 what? Like 50 G's or 10 G's. That's like, wait, people making money from this? Like this is a career thing?
money,
So it
money.
was like this thing activated in me. It was like, because I always felt like Smash was more, but I didn't
Mm,
know what that more was.
okay.
And then seeing that, it was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was like this prophecy that I always felt like was there, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm seeing it confirmed in front of me. So like when people see like me playing Smash, imagine you always wanting something in life, and then you come to find out that it actually exists. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
mm, yep, yep.
Like if I walk over the rainbow, will there really be a pot of gold there? And everybody telling you, and then you find out, yes, if I walk over the rainbow, there's a pot of gold on the other side. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like that for me. It was like, well, yeah, this is you always wanted this, and yes, it exists, Alex. What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that's where my kind of crazy obsession with really wanting to play people at that level came from. Started
Mm-hmm.
looking through the comments, wanted to know what they was doing. I learned about things like dash dancing, wave dashing, L canceling. Keep in mind, I didn't know about smash boards. I literally was reading YouTube comments to find these things out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was a person I never used to love reading a lot, but I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you, Melee made me a person that loved reading.
Love to read
I,
it.
like I tell
And,
you, like people don't
w-
understand the things outside that game that really made me enjoy life a lot more than I was before. Like, but if I was to say before Melee, I would enjoy life one, like 3 out of 10.
mhm.
After Melee, I enjoyed life like 9 out of 10.
That's
It was
good.
like boom, you found the thing that makes life, great and amazing
Mm-hmm.
and super and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just that. So I learned about all of wave dash and L canceling and stuff because I don't have anybody to play. Because I was playing my friends, and while I was learning the
Mm-hmm.
text, they was kind of beat me. And so they was like, Alex, ever since you started to learn these advanced techniques, you losing. You should probably stop. And it's like we beating you now. You know what I mean? Like you ain't
Uh-huh.
they're trying to learn these things. But I was like, nope, I
Mm-hmm.
can't give up because these dudes doing it and they doing it so well. And that's when I had to learn
Mm-hmm.
something called application. You have to learn when
Okay.
to apply these techniques. You don't just get to
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you got all this stuff.
You don't do them all
Yeah,
the
you
time.
don't
Yep.
just say,
Yep.
oh, let me
Yep.
wave dash and then I win. No, you have to learn when to apply wave dash and when to apply dash dance and what this application is used for, what that, and learning all of that stuff was really kind of like cemented the whole idea of okay, learning is fun, losing is fun, learning why you've lost is fun, self
Mm-hmm.
reflection is great. Because a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times we don't think about ourselves as people. We just kind of just say,
Mm-hmm.
it's the other person. No, it's that person. And no, I got to
Mm-hmm.
think about this. Like I'm losing to Shad. Should I blame Shad or should I blame myself? No, I need to blame
Mm-hmm.
myself. Why am I losing to Shad? What is Shad doing to beat me? So self reflection was another big thing I learned. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned all of that. I started beating all my friends, and it was just like, okay, now that you're destroying your friends, and oh man, I can tell you another thing that I was destroying.
You ain't even
Right?
gonna say
It was just like
that.
I was just beating the
They was
crap
mad
out of
at
it, and
you
they
for a
was
while.
looking at me like, "This game ain't fun no more." You know, you stupid techniques.
You know what it's like? It's like when you learn how to play a fighting game properly, you become that guy who nobody wants to play with
Right.
anymore. Because it has happened. I am telling you, it happens. Like I just tell everybody, because a lot of people just be like, "Hey, why you pick Hugo in Street Fighter?" But I was like, dude, do you know the damage output that Hugo gives out? I only have to do um um 3 heavy punch, the 360, the command
Hmm.
grabs. I only have to do 3 of them, and a slap, like a medium punch, and you dead. That's the round. I win.
Oh,
Like that. Like
I think I
seriously.
saw
I
you
like
going
wow.
for that a lot. This is Street Fighter 4 because I remember doing the commentary
Uh,
on a couple of your videos.
mm.
I think Kono was your kryptonite. I mean, I can get to the
No,
stuff.
no.
No, I know what
Kono,
Kono was doing.
listen.
He was definitely training you, and the way he did it was like you
Yeah,
gotta learn how to get past the cheap stuff if you
yeah.
wanna
Uh
if you
huh.
wanna like be better. So I understand what Kono was doing. I definitely could get to that
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to get off track. But you know what
Yeah,
I
that's
mean when
fine.
I was saying like destroying all
Yeah,
the friends situation.
yeah. I know what you mean. You became that guy. Like I don't play with
Yeah,
you
it
no more.
was
This
it
is
was
too
just like I don't want to play with you
complicated.
no more. So Shad was like, nah, you know what? I should probably learn these techniques with Alex. Because how it is with me, I don't know if I have a curse. Maybe I do, right? There might be a curse
Mm-hmm.
out there where all my friends, they get scholarships. People excel when they're around me for some odd reason. And people were like moving to the States. They were telling me like, oh, I got this big crazy job. I gotta go. You know, we can't stick around. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm cursed for people to be successful. Cool. I'm not gonna complain about
Okay.
it. If you're excelling at life hanging
Okay.
around me, bro, that's great. That means I'm bringing positive energy, you know. So my
Mm.
friends ended up moving away, and the only person who was with me was my boy Shad, because we was the last of my crew. You know Dames already. You know Greg.
I
Greg
know
was a
Greg.
part of
Yeah,
my crew because I
Greg is my
graduated from
dude.
school with him. So he was a part of my crew. It was
Mm.
me, him, Shad, O'Neill, Andre, and I think Sonny. But Sonny was the first one to push out, and then O'Neill moved to the States. And then Andre moved to the States. So it was just really me and Shad because Dames kind of like started doing his own thing. I think he started hanging
Mm.
around the cage more. He was doing more like anime stuff. So he's like, okay, Alex got to leave the
Mm.
crew. I was like, okay, cool. So it was mostly just me and Shad. And that's when I was like, I think we need to, because I was watching Pokemon one day and I was like, but I think we need to go on a journey, you know? Like Ash is on a journey,
Mm.
but he ain't just destroying niggas in Pallet Town. Oh, sorry, I used the word.
Mm.
But
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's
he ain't just
okay.
beating people in Pallet Town. He literally go to there to, get into the league. And me thinking like
Yeah.
MLG might come to the Bahamas one day or whatever. And
Mm.
if these tournaments happen, and I gotta compete in these tournaments, so I gotta be ready.
Mm.
So this is when I met Shin. I met Harry. Because I was looking through the
Mm.
YouTube comments like I normally do, and I saw Shin was like, "Oh, I'm from the Bahamas. How do you do this technique?" And I was like, "Wait, somebody from the Bahamas?" And I started replying to him on YouTube, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm from the Bahamas. I'm from this area, that area." You know, obviously, when two
Mm.
Bahamians meet online and they start talking, and you start talking to a
Mm.
guy, it's almost like you got to be like
Mm.
this nigga, like man, or whatever. I mean,
I
you know,
play.
'cause
You just have to. So it for me, it is be in the
in the
back of my
back of your
mind, but
mind.
I don't put it for. I'd be like,
I mean,
let me see what
we've
he's saying.
become
You know what I'm
very
saying?
progressive over the years, but like you 18, 17 at this time, you're kind of thinking like,
Uh huh.
I hope to see somebody trying to, beat me, rob me, or do something terrible to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Because the last thing you thinking of is this dude can try
yeah.
some things.
So but
You
he
know?
talking about melee like how I talking about melee, so like I'm conflicted
Uh.
inside. I'm like, you know what? I can't think like that. Maybe he might actually be good. I might actually get to fight somebody else that know these techniques. Because when you
Mm.
play melee, it's weird because a lot of people don't play Smash that way. Because there's a huge casual audience. So most people who I
Mm.
played in Smash, they did the same old stuff: roll, shield, try to want to play with items on, whatever. They wasn't doing the things I was doing, which most people would say is the
Mm.
cheap stuff, but it is what it is.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
when I met Shin, we decided to trust each other, and he came by me actually. He got us, and we went by him. And he was a little skeptical of us too, you know what I mean? That was definitely a part of that trip where we was riding with him in his car. And he's like, "I coming right back." Me and Shad was like, "This guy going to try to get one knife,
oh,
you know?"
oh shit. He can't go kill us. He can't go kill us.
No, kill us, right? But it was like, he's like, "But I come right back, but stay in the car." And I was like, "But you right there, you going to get a knife? Make sure we don't kill him."
Like,
It
he
was
take the
funny.
keys
It
with
was
him?
funny.
You know the hot wire car?
It was jokey. But for real, I met him and then I met
Uh-huh.
Daisy. So you should know Daisy, Christine.
I know Daisy. I don't know where she is now.
No, I still speak to her because
Lord.
that's Shin's cousin. So he used to play with
Yeah.
Daisy, and I was like, "Wait, your cousin is a girl?" It's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, I don't think she could know how to play Smash." But Daisy was pretty good. She didn't beat me. She beat my boy. She beat Shad, but she didn't beat me. But I was like, I beat her, and then I played Shin, and I beat Shin the first time. But they played us in doubles because we didn't just play singles. We also played doubles, and they destroyed us in doubles. So it was like, he was the first person I played that played the game that way, and it was just it was something else. It's like something just unlocked in my mind because I was like, I'm so used to taking advantage of people who don't know advanced tech that when you play somebody that does know it, it's like, oh my god, man, that was so close. My heart was racing. It was almost euphoric in a way. It's like, wow, I can't believe this is how the game feel when you play it at this level. But you know, I'll skip over most of the story after that. Just know that I after that, the whole Shin situation, I started to meet one or two more people, but I really needed to get out there. And this is when we met the first Michael, the Michael that was at Games and Things. That was the first time I met him.
Was it? Oh,
Michael.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that Michael, the bright skin Michael, right? That, but not.
Yeah.
I met him at Games and Things because he was the first one who worked there. Because there was this store, and I was like, yeah, there's a store called Games and Things, and we could go there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, we go there. I went there and I talked to him, and I was like, you know, hey, Michael, is it possible for me to bring my TV and we just play Smash, and whoever walks through the door, we could kind of like play them? Because I was thinking in my mind, if I found Shin and all these one or two players on YouTube, imagine who I'll meet in person. So we had this thing where we would go there, me and Shad, because we used to see ourselves as Vegeta and Nappa, just destroying towns and planets. So we went to
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
And we just was just standing there, you know. And I was like, whoever won't play, y'all just plug in and play us. And listen, we was taking souls because I was already out of school. We was out of school. We was young. We didn't really have anything to do. And we just was, anybody who wanted to challenge us could challenge us. And I was just destroying everyone who walked through that door. That's how I met Taisha and Tyson. That's how I met Wes and his crew. As I calling off names of people that you probably didn't remember from a long time.
I know Taisha.
Yeah,
brother and sister.
Taisha married your boy. I can't remember what his name again. I only remember his tag.
I can't remember.
Caius. I don't even remember his tag. Caius.
I don't remember.
Jimmy. Right. I met Jimmy too.
Yeah.
I just met a bunch of people who I know now, but I didn't meet you yet. I saw you used to be there, but we never interacted.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, I'm in my space and you're in your space, but you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, okay, he's not into Smash, so I'm not going to really say anything to him. I think we connected when I branched out and went to the cage.
The cage, yeah.
That was when I met you at the cage. And he was like, okay, wait, y'all playing Street Fighter? So, but yeah, that's where it really started. It started with Games and Things. And it was the Smash community stuff happening. I ended up going to BTVI. And when I went to BTVI, that's when I met Gerard. And when I met Gerard, Gerard used to hang out on this table called the bench. He used to call the spot the bench because that's where all of the technicians used to hang out after class. And I saw them there, and I was a technician, so I went to them and I was like, hey, I got this idea. I want to start doing like a bunch of gaming tournaments here, and I know the best way to do it is through college because I read this all up on Smash boards because I finally found Smash boards. That's like it's similar to the Street Fighter boards. I can't remember the Street Fighter 1 name. Event Hubs. I think it's Event Hubs.
Hubs. Yeah,
it's very similar to Event Hubs, but it's mostly Smash. And so they was teaching people how to start communities. The best way to do it is through college. And I was like, okay, BTVI is similar to college. So when I went to Gerard was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Because he was the head of the bench. I got to speak to the boss of the bench. And Gerard was like, yeah, okay, that sounds like an amazing idea. Let's do it. But he's like, the only problem is I don't know anything about esports. And I was like, what? So to my surprise, Gerard went home that afternoon. He didn't tell me anything, and he just went on Twitch and started watching a ton of videos. The next day, again, I went back to campus. He was like, "I know everything about esports now, and I just been watching this guy, and it's like this is amazing, but it's crazy." You know what I mean? And he's like, "Okay, let's do this." So Gerard was like super prepared. Like he had a better laptop. He had this, that, and the next thing, and he was putting stuff together. And I was like, "Thank you." You know what I mean? I was like, I'm glad I ran into someone like you who could just. He's like, dude, I wish I knew this a long time ago. And that's when we started doing tournaments at BTVI. And then Gerard came to me and he was like, there's places like the Cage, and there's also this other place that I saw down the road called Joystick. We should probably
Joystick,
hit them up.
yeah.
And I was like, he's like, yeah, what do you want to do? And I was like, okay, you hit up Joystick. I'm gonna deal with the Cage. Because I had already know a few people at the Cage, and then I met Glenn. And Glenn was kind of just walking around the Cage with his shoes off, and he was like, "Oh, well, what do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to host." He's like, "All right." Well, before I met Glenn, I met Elwood.
Oh yeah, because you started coming there at the time when the Cage had already changed hands. I remember.
Right, and so at first I didn't meet Jason, and then Jason had let me do a Marvel tournament there one night, but it didn't run the way I wanted it to. It wasn't until I started working with Glenn, where Glenn was just a lot more lenient with time, and it was like, hey, do what you got to do, just pay $1, you know what I mean? Whatever you need, Alex, I got you. And I was just bringing a lot of people there. And when we started hosting tournaments there, Smash tournaments, Rico was behind me. And Rico was like, hey, you's the one who's hosted tournaments? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you want to host Street Fighter? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, I don't play Street Fighter. But then I remember Gerard saying, we got to branch out. We already do Mortal Kombat at BTVI. What's wrong with the fight? I was like, okay, you be in charge of Street Fighter, Gerard. You do Street Fighter, and I'm going to deal with Smash. And he was like, okay, fine. So I helped Gerard with his first Street Fighter tournament. I went to Rico, and I was like, okay, yeah, we go to Street Fighter tournament. That's when I think
I started coming.
Yeah, I think you came like 2 weeks after. But
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, because you saw us the first time, but you was doing Yu-Gi-Oh! And then you was like, you know what, y'all dudes look consistent. Because I could have seen on your face, it was like, I don't think this might last long, but if they do it, because, people come and go all the time. So it's like, I don't want this to be a one-time thing I invest in. Because let's be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was consistent. Let's be real. The Cage did a very good job of making Yu-Gi-Oh! Consistent. So when you saw me being consistent with Street Fighter, me and Gerard, it's like, okay, all right, then let me do the next tournament. I don't know if you use controller the first day and then bring the stick after. I can't remember.
I had it's funny. Quick story about that. I was using controller the first time, and I saw Rico doing
fight stick.
A fight stick. So I went to the week after I came to my first tournament with you guys. I went to a thrift shop because I was one of the thrift shops out there. I think it's the Salvation Army. I think it was. And I saw one on sale for like $50 in the box. And it was the exact same one that Rico had. The only problem with it was it couldn't, like, the joystick wouldn't go register the down and go. So I took it to an electrician, and the guy is like, I tell him what was going on. He's like, oh, I can fix that. So he charged me another $50 to fix it. Hey, listen, welcome to the business. And then after he fixed it, I got a working joystick. Come to find out years later, I probably could have fixed that myself if I had just looked at a video on YouTube. It probably was something just misaligned or something. That's all.
Wow.
But hey, it's his shop, his price, and I can't get mad with him for that. But now that I know, I could actually fix my own. So that's how that happened.
That was great, because that's the
story
we met you. And then the reigning champions at the time was Dimitri. It was Dimitri at first, because Dimitri just came and started destroying people. But I think first it was Ginryu and then Dimitri, it was Dimitri and then Ginryu side was behind them, and then more and more people started coming out. Shaquille, then we saw Jojo, you, and it was just everything was just happening. And then the curse hit again, and Gerard was like, "I got a scholarship," and I was like, "Well, you've been hanging around me, so clear you can get a scholarship and push out."
I still talk to Gerard on Discord. He's popping my stream every now and then.
Yeah, Gerard is super supportive. Agreed.
Yeah. Oh man, he like if I gotta interview him myself on my stream, I'll do
It-
that because I
Definitely.
respect him. He even put in some money towards like the house getting rebuilt, our house after it burned down.
Oh,
So I gotta give him props for that. That was
yo,
pretty cool of him.
Gerard, I ain't gonna lie. If he was here, like he said, if he was here, he would help me out more. But he had to
Mm,
move, and when he moved, he was like, "Alex, you could be straight." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I what I could do, I could just try my best to try to do both games, which I didn't realize was gonna burn me out eventually. But at the
oh
time when I
yeah,
was
yeah.
doing it, I wasn't working, so it was so much easier for me to not be burned out because I could have worked that entire weekend, and then through the week, you know, I was kind of like straight because I could have just like sleep and just plan out for the next weekend. But then I
Mm-hmm.
started and I got my IT job because of Brendan. Because Brendan used to come to my Smash tournaments and he was like, "Bro, I could be pushing out for my job. Do you want my position?" And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Mm-hmm.
So, being a part of gaming communities opens up a lot of opportunities because like your
Mm-hmm.
network grows. Because a lot of these people have careers, doctors,
Mm-hmm.
lawyers, carpenters, architects and so on. So and then you meet other technicians, and if they're leaving their job because Brendan said he going to move to the States,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't the curse with him. It wasn't the curse with Brendan. It was actually really
uh,
bad with Brendan because he moved here from the States, and he didn't have a lot of
oh,
friends. Because of my tournaments and stuff,
oh,
he got to make a lot of friends from the Smash
mm,
community. And then his father died here, so he wanted to move back to the States
ooh,
with his family. But he was like, "I'm
oh
gonna leave
man,
you my job, and if you want it," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was able to like grow a lot of my experience from IT from there because I had all my certs and stuff, but I
mm,
just didn't have a job, so I needed work
mm,
experience, and so he opened that up for me. Um,
mm,
so we left. He left me the job, and then I was like, now I'm starting to feel this burnout on the weekends because I'm dealing with
mm,
the cage, I'm dealing with joystick every night after I finish work. Plus, I got Smash tournaments to run on weekends, but I was still in my passion. The passion was still there. So you
mm,
didn't feel
mm.
the burn. And then on top of that, I started going downtown. At that place, Green Pirate.
I
Because
remember, yeah.
we was like all over the place, and then you started doing your thing, but
Mm.
I didn't go to those ones. But it was just like so many different places. Um,
And we all had. I keep telling everyone the only reason why did that was the reason I did that initially was for me and Kono and Dell to like have a place to like chill out and drink a beer and play Street Fighter.
right.
And then other people started coming, so I let them know. I was like, listen, I want this to be a regular thing for all of us because like if we create a scene, and on top of which, I kind of could have feel that you was doing like a lot, and it was already we already used to have those discussions like when we used to like finish up with tournaments or whatever. We'd always have them moments where we go out to our cars and still
And
be
still be
outside
outside
talking,
talking, yeah.
and it would always come up that there's like growing the scene is a difficult thing up here because a lot of people still stuck, and like even now it's gotten better. I won't say it hasn't gotten better, but we're still in the same rut because we're still held down by people who don't understand that video games is something you can make
Oh,
money of.
right.
And what puzzles me is we have video games tournaments like they'll be playing either Valorant or something like the NBA games or something like or Madden and stuff. We have them on basic cable. Why can't we get that on TV? I get that Twitch exists. I get that YouTube streaming exists. Like I stream on
Hmm.
YouTube. I get all these things exist. But if you want to make people understand that this thing is a legitimate thing, televise it. Put it on ZNS. Put it on Cable 12. Put it on something. Let people see that it's an actual thing. Have a column about it in the news, like on TV news, not just the newspapers, because hardly anyone is reading sports anymore. And if people, no, I
No, I
being real,
understand where you're
like the
coming
only
from.
people who picking up newspapers is older
Right.
people or magicians like me, because I just use papers to tear the newspaper up and put it back together. That's all I just use them for. So
So,
if
I mean, okay, you can finish.
no, that's it.
So, so,
That's just my basic
so the
point.
biggest question, because we could kind of like move
Hmm.
on to the second segment now, which is like the difficulty of
Yeah,
it, right? Um,
yeah. What do you think is one of the difficulties
of
of it?
of the whole thing. Well, after
Yeah.
after I experienced burnout, um,
Hmm.
what I noticed too, I think it came with age as well, because like as your hands start to hurt when you play, it's almost
Hmm.
like it's a punishment to be playing these games because now your body's starting to ache from doing it. The thing is with a lot
Yeah.
of people is like there's no return on the incentive. And what I what I
Mm.
what I starting to realize too is like it happened with Kana. Because we can't mix them up with Kono because there was Kana and
Mm.
friends.
I know who
You
Ghana
know
is. I know who
that was
Ghana is.
Shard Crew. It was a tournament
Mm.
that Kana was like the primary example that really opened my eyes because he used to come to a lot of my
Mm.
tournaments and he wasn't really winning right out the door. Even though Kana was
Mm.
known as the grandfather of Star and Shad and Dimitri's crew, Kana was this type of
Mm.
person who came to tournaments, but he wasn't necessarily winning. And he continued coming to tournaments until he won. And then when he did win, he got $15. And it was like, bro, like I tried every week. I'd come to your tournaments and I'd
Mm.
try every week, and all I get
Mm.
is $15. Like I was climbing this ladder and I was
Mm.
making time for this, and now that I've
And
actually
he
hit
made
the
it to the
top,
end.
right, and now I only get $15 out of it, Alex. It ain't
Mm.
really. And the thing is, I'd feel so bad when Connor really
Yep.
explained that to me because it's like, Connor, I'm not getting anything out of this either, and I'm hosting these tournaments all the time. Like, yeah, I try to do a venue
Mm.
fee where I could take like $2 out of it, but a lot of the time that money going back into the community, it ain't even like that going into my pocket. And but the thing is, Connor was trying to tell me like, bro, you know how much things I could be doing on a Sunday, and I'm coming
Mm.
out to your events and playing these games. And yes, don't get me wrong, they're fun, but at the same time too, I'm a grown man with bills. And if the only thing that I'm
Mm.
going to get out of pushing myself so hard to win your tournaments is $15, you got to
It's.
look at where I coming from. Because it was
Mm.
Kana and another person who used to come out with Kana. It was another. I can't remember what his name is. He had a weird name. Is Doofy or something? I can't remember. But he had the same idea as Connor. Like, yes, Alex, I enjoy the level of camaraderie with everybody in the community in general. I love space,
Mm.
but at the same time too, we also giving up things on Sundays to come to these events and
Mm.
through the week to train for these events.
Mm.
So
Mm.
the incentive was just not there for the players.
Mm.
And once I started to like wane off of my passion, and I just was really just stuck with logic, and it started
Mm.
to dawn on me that Connor was right.
Was
They,
right.
they,
Yeah.
they they actually was right because they're putting all this time and effort into the game. I started to even notice it with like JoJo starting to prioritize other things other than the FGC, and
Mm.
and then even it started to even annoy the players to a point, which is why I think joystick closed down because I started to wane off of hosting tournaments a lot because people were complaining about joystick, and then it's like, okay, well, Michael charging us this much money, and we don't feel like there's enough incentive to get paid to be doing this. And I was already at a point where I was burning out, so I was like, I don't feel like trying to like justify the prices because Michael's saying you got to keep the doors open. And so I had
Mm.
to go to Michael and make the hard decision that we're not going to be coming back to joystick anymore. And about like
Mm.
2 or 3
Mm.
weeks after that, Michael shut joystick down. So
Jesus.
with joystick closing
Okay.
down, it was like, okay, where else do we go to play? The good thing is Stanley did open up another cage because cage even closed down, and then Stanley opened another cage and
Mm.
was like, maybe we could start doing tournaments here. And then I started to realize like I gotta ride all the way out Fox Hill, and the burnout, it started
Yeah.
to hit me even more, and I'm like, bro, I just want to eat food on Sunday and lay down. So it was like, but then in my mind, it's like I don't want to do this to shot them, man. Like I giving up, and it almost in a way I kind of hate myself because like
Mhm.
I went through all of this trying to grow the community, get the community there, hyping these dudes up. We even traveled to the States together like 3 times. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And it's like now I'm experiencing burnout to the point where I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm this side of me that's like, well, Alex, you done pull all these people into the stuff. What are you gonna do now? You trying to, duck out on this. And then the other Michael came around. And then the other guys, from Black Nebula and stuff came around, and then other people was like,
Mm.
"Yo, we want to get into toasting tournaments and stuff like that." And I was like, it was almost as like Merry
Thank you.
Christmas. You know what I mean? It's like Santa Claus was coming. It's just like, hey, Alex, you can give the community, and you got some.
Alex, chill out, chill out. You
Yeah,
straight,
like
you
you
straight,
straight.
you
You got Michael
straight.
Ramadan and all the rest of these guys, and you got Michael who also gonna do game heads, and then this Andre dude
Mm.
coming out of nowhere has like, okay, cool. Noah's like, hey, I got Smash, I got Ty Smash on. It's like the only problem I had was like, what about Melee? But then I was like, wait, a bunch of Melee players already moved away, and our community's so small right now. And then
Uh,
on top of that, we got Slippy because now Melee is online. I was like, I don't think it's
mm.
going to be a big deal because people could play if they want to. They have access now. They don't need me. So I was like, okay, Melee could take the hit with kind of semi dying until we go off. Ultimate is going to be good. Street Fighter is going to be good, or so I thought. And all of these other games are going to be good. And then I left the scene, right, from TON, and I left in 2020. And then I don't know if I should even get into this other part, because then, like, anyway, there was a lot of infighting, right?
There was a
There
lot
was
of
a lot
infighting.
of infighting.
Let's just
Let's
say
just
that.
say it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of infighting. There was a lot of people who was like, this and that and the next thing. And the thing is, I was like the person that left, and I was the person that everybody remembered, kind of just
Yep.
unity,
That's
keeping
why
everybody together.
like, even though Kana was the godfather of, like,
That, right.
bringing the people together, you and
And Gerard,
Gerard
yeah.
too. I have to give Gerard his bro. Y'all two single-handedly started the scene here.
Yeah.
Like, people.
I got it. Yeah.
For me,
he did it.
For me, what it was was like, okay, it's like you said. You remember when you said you saw me and I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was like, yeah, all right, well, this can only be a one-off thing, and it's whatever. That's what I thought for real, because I had seen newspaper articles years ago with people having tournaments for video games,
Oh, yeah.
and like 100 Jams sponsoring it and doing things, and either a few people show up or hardly anyone to show up. And I
That was
like,
Omega.
dude.
Omega that had that $1,000 tournament that, but
Oh.
Max, anyway, that's another story. But Max won.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they did one next one for Street Fighter. I don't know who went to that, though. I think it's somebody in the community now who went to that one. I don't know if they won the whole $1,000.
I think Shaq. Maybe
Shaquille. It was Shaquille? Okay. We got to talk to Shaquille on that. But I know Omega.
I said maybe. I ain't sure, but I know
I know they had a Street Fighter one, and then they died after that. Right?
Yeah. And I was like, I got tired of seeing that happen every so often, because I wish this wasn't an every so often thing. So when I came and I saw y'all doing it again and again, and I was like, all right, I got to get on this, because I actually do play Street Fighter. Let me see what this is about. So, I paid my little fee. I played with everybody. I lost, but I still had a good time. You know what I'm saying? And I while I understand incentive, and I agree with you that incentive is the big thing. Everyone, I just don't want it. I think there's a fine line between a person understanding that they come in there for the experience and the fun of it, and the fact that we don't even do it here like that, and we trying to get this like rolling.
Oh.
Or we continuing it from rolling, like it's a slow and steady process, and then them coming here thinking that they gonna win some money, because it's like, I could be real with you, we ain't to the level of, we want to get to the level of like Evo, like, because in Evo everyone to say don't try to win, just make top 8.
Agreed.
Top 8 get the money.
But
you know what I'm saying?
I just tell people that properly, because people was complaining about that. But we'll talk about that another time. You could finish.
Another time, yeah. No, but I think there's a fine line between the two of them. So, what do you think, personally, is a thing that has to, like, how can you straddle the two, or keep them in line? Because I don't know how to do it, because I'm not a tournament organizer. I don't do any of that stuff. I do commentary now that I've been pegged as a commentator, and everyone likes my commentary for some reason.
Because you could feel what you're saying. You're not just kind of listening to a person talk, right?
I know. I just have to, man. I just have to sometimes be like, I just have to wrestle through watching some streams from some people sometimes, because theirs just be like, yeah, but so blah blah blah, and that was, that was solid.
Nice low thing or nice high this, and like, where's the excitement?
What's going on, babe? Like,
but to answer your question, I was, when I first left the FGC, I was kind of still thinking about it, because of all the infighting, like I was saying, and people were trying to figure out, even to this day, I think Michael Amadan was saying, like, we still trying to figure out why the FGC isn't working as well as it should, or esports isn't working as well as it should. But I think it's mostly the FGC. My theory that I came up with, as I call it, the orange theory, right? People come to a tournament, and when they come to a tournament, you have those who come and then they kind of like the environment. They just like the level of camaraderie with everybody and how everybody, the community interacts, and some of them want to get better. That's what you would call the inner layer, because those are the people who actually come for like the experience. And then you have the people who are the absolute first layer of the orange. They're the people who come into a tournament the first time to see what the tournament is all about, Can they make money from this? Is this as lucrative as it should be? They come to a tournament, they lose their first match, they rage and they go home and you never see them again.
See them again.
So what ends up happening, and especially what I've been going through a lot, is I'm like, you know what? It comes down to the Orange Theory is correct, because I'll have 20 people come to my tournament, then we peel away the first layer. The people who come there thinking they can win $6 million and they realize that ain't there and they lose and they're like, screw this. Then you got the second layer, which is I would call Lacanas, because they would come, they would enjoy the experience, they would keep trying, and then they realize like all of this isn't really helping me because I won and I only have $15, so they'll leave. And then you have the people who just come for just the bare experience, but then something in life happens with them, like they'll get a girlfriend or they get a nice job and realize, bro, I could be riding around on my own Saturday and Sunday. So I'll come out once in a blue moon. That's the JoJo's. And so, they'll leave. And then you just left with the Shads and the Shaquilles, I guess. Like the people who really, really just want to destroy people, and whether they lose or not, they want to be in that environment. So with the Orange Theory, we need to realize that we have to incentivize the second to the last layer, which is the people like JoJo and the people like Kana. Like those people, they need to be given incentive. And I know a lot of the times we say it's really not the money, but I think the money will help a lot, because at the end of the day, when people throw time and energy into this, they need to see something out of it, right? Even if it's just once a year, which is why me not traveling, the whole COVID situation allowed me to put aside 2K, right? That allowed me to put aside $2,000. And so now I can take that $2,000 and put that into the community. So even when Kana be like, I went to a tournament with Michael on March the 30th and I only got $15, but hey, this tournament coming up in August with Alex, I'm going to be walking home with $500-$600. I think I'm going to stay in this community. We're still not going to deal with the people at the first layer, the ones who expecting the big payout when they first come in and, they expect champagne, etc. No, you're not going to get you're going to get the third to the fourth and then the last layer, which is, like that. Like you're going to get that, right? But you're not going to get, that first layer, the outer part of the orange, because those people, they expect you to pay their way through. They expect you to beg them to come to events. You know what I mean? And the thing is, they come to events and they still get destroyed, and then they blame everybody at the tournament. So you're never going to get the first layer. So the thing is, what's going to happen is when new tournaments happen, Michael is going to get a bunch of people to come there. And then you're going to get the Orange Theory happen again, where, the first layer peel away, and the people that you're left with is only going to be about 2 or 3. Now, if you start incentivizing tournaments where you start paying these players, whether it be once a year or you have a $2,000 tournament once every 3 months, it's going to keep that other layer in there. It's going to keep them locked in, because they already know that I'm going to get a big payday once every 3 months. So I should keep playing this game. I might not go to local tournaments, but I'm going to keep playing this game enough that when those 3 months hit and that $2,000 tournament come, boy, I'm going to try my ass off, and everybody could be attending that. But at least, not the first layer, but the second, third layer, they could definitely be attending those tournaments. Because what ended up happening is I was left with all of the Shads and the Shaquilles, and that's fine. But the Shads and the Shaquilles only came in pairs of 2. Whereas if I could get that Kana and those JoJo's, they would be coming in pairs of 4s and up. You know what I mean? And you would have a much bigger tournament or much bigger events happening. Local tournaments would be seeing like 20-man entries and so on and so forth. And then the bigger tournaments would be seeing 50-man. The way we going right now, where local tournaments, dudes only winning $15, you only could be seeing when 5-6 niggas show up the most, because you only appealing to the Shad and the Shaquille audience. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I don't want to use JoJo as a real big example, but JoJo is the type of person who prioritizes stuff that benefits him. Exercising, being looking good, looking great, keeping in shape and all that. But with the FGC, he feels like, how does this benefit me? I mean, and I could come in, I could put in the time, I could beat Shad, I could beat Shaquille, but what am I getting out of this? And it's the same thing with Kana too. Like, yeah, Alex, I could do it, but what am I getting out of this? And it's those players that I really was trying to find an answer to, and that's why I was like, you know what? I'm not TOing anymore. Let me put $2,000. Now the thing is, Street Fighter would have had $1,000, while Ultimate had the next grand. But then Street Fighter decided to do foolishness with this whole
What, and come out with
certificate
part 6?
foolishness. No, with the certificate thing.
That. Oh.
And I was like, Michael, listen, and then everybody
Listen,
looking at me like, Shah
man,
telling me, like, I ain't
man. Let me
playing
tell you how
five no.
mad everybody is about that. Let me tell you how mad everybody is about that. You can't stream Street Fighter no more.
No,
That sucks. That
and that
sucks.
pissed me off because I'm like,
That pisses off
I
everybody. You're
want to
like,
give
dude.
back. I fucking want to give. I want to give back to Shad. I want to
it's
give back to
it's.
Jojo. I'm like, I want to let these dudes know, like, I appreciate
Mm,
the time and the energy and all the years you put into coming to my events, and this is my way of giving back to you. And I can't even do that.
that means everybody who been playing games now, you gotta switch to a different game. I mean, unless these people willing to go call Capcom and say, hey, well,
I'm in the
we
change.
want to host a tournament
I
here,
think I think
huh?
Michael said that they were definitely making changes to it, especially on the local tournament end.
Eh,
They were
eh,
doing that, but
I
I was like, you know what, Michael, y'all, I gotta wait till 6 come out. And I could have tell like he
uh
was a little pissed because he was like, this patch coming out, Alex. I think you should probably do it again. I was like, no, because we
no,
already have all of these
no.
international players coming here for Ultimate now. You got Jamaica, you got
Mm,
Barbados, you got Trinidad. And I'm like, they're coming here because I'm putting 2 grand up for that event. And so this is one of the
mm.
events that we could probably broadcast or whatever. And the thing is,
Which one's
this
this?
is the one that's supposed to be coming up in July, right? There's a
Okay.
tournament coming up in July that I'm hosting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting 2K towards it, and I'm letting Noah do it. I'm letting
Shameless plug, y'all.
Noah, Michael, Rhythm, and Game Heads do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and they're asking me like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be the guy that's throwing the money at the event.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you know what? If we're gonna do this, let's go big. Let's see if we could get some international players here. And I was like, if we get 10
Let's
or
see if we
more,
could get.
I'll put
Let's see if we could
25.
get a room at. Yeah, let's see if we could get a room at Atlantis or
The
something.
thing is, when you try to get those spaces at Atlantis, you need money for that. I don't want to take the prize money that I given these players and then have it up
You
there.
know, it would have been a great place to have it if they hadn't closed down Malia.
Right.
Malia was cheap. It was. I mean, it was still money, but it wasn't as big as Atlantis. Then it would have been
It
so
would have
good
been
to have
better
it
to
over
do it
there.
there. And I agree with you with the whole
Mm-hmm.
broadcast and stuff, because you brought that up too. The only reason that people aren't really putting this on ZNS, etc., is because they run into licensing problems. So even if I was to say, hey, let's do Ultimate on ZNS, and Nintendo find out that that happens, ZNS could get in problems because they're a
Uh,
TV station, they have to contact Nintendo and be like, hey, we're broadcasting your game.
oh.
Even though the Bahamas get away with doing a lot of foolishness. I think I remember hearing Dragon Ball Z music in one of their commercials, and I'm like, you're all supposed to be getting sued for this, right? But
Wait, they have Dragon Ball Z over
yeah,
there?
they had a commercial up and it had Dragon Ball Super background music, and I was like,
You
yeah,
serious?
I'm serious. This is right after the Tournament of Power, and I'm like, wait, would they have the Tournament of
uh,
Power music in this? Because I love the
uh,
Tournament of Power, and I love the music, and I was like, yeah, I definitely
uh,
recognize this music. These people supposed to be getting sued for
uh.
this. We gotta ask permission to use this deal. But
But you know what I found. You know what I found even through streaming.
Mhm.
Like even if you do if I stream and I use anime music or well some anime music. Let me say that I like like listen, do guys don't take my word on this. Whoever watching it, wherever you're watching it from, I'm not telling you all to do this. I'm just telling you what happens to me. Okay, all right. If I use anime music or video game music, I never get hit. Now, some animes I'll get hit from. Like there's an anime called Vinland Saga. Me and my friends was streaming one night, and we was like we built a ship. He was playing oh god I can't remember the name of the game right now. It'll come back to me. But we built a ship and we was on the ship, and he's like, dude, play the Vinland Saga intro. That'll be solid. I was like, okay. So I caved. I didn't want to, but I caved and I played it. And when I played it, as soon as the video goes up, because once you stream it on YouTube, it goes up for everyone to see. It's like, hey, here's this. Take this community guidelines warnings. You getting a strike on that one. I was like, well, mothers. So from then, I don't play anything anymore. Nothing. I'm like, nah, I'm
yeah,
good. Sorry,
and
I straight.
that's one of the main
I
reasons right
straight.
there why they can't, broadcast it, which I wish they could. And I saw it was on TBS before because they did have Street Fighter on TBS, but the amount of licensing stuff that they had to pay for that, they probably is like, it ain't worth it. Um,
And that's before this happened.
yeah, that was way before this
That was
happened.
before
I
this
think they
happened.
was
Yeah.
streaming what I can't remember what series it was, something league series, and that ended up going on TV, but that probably ended up costing them more than they wanted to from Capcom, because Capcom could be looking to make a payday. You trying to go to TV?
Capcom is going the way of Nintendo,
Yeah.
and I don't stream Nintendo games anymore at all. I had Throwback Thursdays on one of my earlier when I used to first started streaming. I don't do Throwback Thursdays anymore because it used to consist mainly of old school Nintendo games. But how Nintendo does be trying to sue your mother for everything, I just be like,
They want the money.
I don't play Nintendo games on my stream anymore. And a lot of I have said this ad nauseum on all of my streams. Whenever people say, "Oh, you should play Mario, you should do a speedrun of Mario, this or do it," I like no. If it's on Nintendo, I am not playing
No, sir.
it. I'm sorry. I cannot. I live in an apartment. And I just have to struggle to pay rent.
You need that revenue that you're
especially
making.
especially coming off of the pandemic. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my.
I remember when the pandemic first started. It was crazy.
I started to stream because I needed
because
money
you needed money, right?
to pay rent. So I was.
Do you get like the full donations or they take out of that?
No. I have a link. My link is in the description and like the chat and in my videos. If they want to donate, they could through the link or whatever.
And they don't tax their donations. You don't get tax from it from PayPal.
No, it goes straight to PayPal.
Okay.
Depending on where they come from, PayPal takes their cut and then they send you the rest.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it is. The PayPal, they got to get their money. So it's
I was just gonna say, do you get to withdraw like the full donation? But
yeah, I get to take it out. Not the full thing now because you have to pay. Well, because we live in the Bahamas, it's like PayPal's fee is $5 and the rest is like money conversion. So from US to Bahamian. So I just be like,
which should have been a little more, tiny bit, not much, but but they dirty. Okay.
Yeah, it's whatever. I don't be watching that, but I am glad. I am glad like you still holding on to the thing. What do you see in terms of like the FGC and Hand of Bahamas? I asked a couple of the other people them this, and I asked them, "Oh, dog, your dog."
Yeah, my dog going out is mine, but he looked like he stopped now. It's mine. All right.
So no, that's fine. I asked some of the other guys this, and I'll ask you the same thing. And I can't ask you this because you live here now. What do you think needs to be done aside from what we said already, like broadcasting and the incentive and doing it and incentivizing it? I'm mixing up my words. Like, in order to keep the people gain their interest, and what has to be done on both ends, I guess, because the only thing I can take from what we talked about just now was that there are some people who just salty, and there's like when they lose, they don't want to come back to playing no more, and I just be like, I am the person who's be like, listen, I understand you lost, but I mean,
well,
he was like, someone has to lose.
We're not even going to talk about like the first layer, because I think that's what you're talking about, the salty ones at the first layer, right?
Yeah.
Where I was really coming from is layer 2, 3, and then 4. 4 would be like the shards, etc. But then 2 and 3 would be like the Kanas and
like the elites,
right? But
yeah,
the thing is, you have to. Money has to be coming in, and I feel like the way that the TO is doing it now, not to really step on anyone's feet, is like, buddy, let me just say like how BM would say it, buddy, I ain't spending no money out of my pocket. Sponsors gotta sponsor this, and this gotta be able to pay for itself. And I 100% agree. It ain't gonna pay for itself in the beginning. That's how I feel. I've been doing this long enough to know ain't nobody gonna be putting their money towards this except the people who are passionate about it. If I had the money at the time when I was hosting tournaments, I definitely would have done the idea that I'm doing now. And the FGC would have definitely had way more players than it does right now who are more committed to the game, because they at least know that at some point they could walk away with $600-700 in their pocket. The thing is, that never happening in the scene unless somebody make that sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice I had to make too. I know people will be like, well, what was the secret to you doing it? The secret to me doing it is that people saw that I was putting time, energy, passion, and a little bit of my own life into this thing. When people see that you're super passionate about stuff, money don't have to be there. they know that you putting your all into it, so they're going to help you. And people believe that Bahamians don't see that. Bahamians see that all the time. That's why even when
Mm-hmm.
I left the scene, people still had respect for me. They still call my name. They still bring up Alex
Yep.
because
We still do.
it's not
We
it's
still
not
do.
because I was like, oh yeah, he was hosting tournaments consistently. No, it's because people saw that I was putting my all into it. And if people see that
Mm.
you're super passionate about stuff like you and the balloons and magic and so on and so forth, people could see that you're putting your all into it. They could see that you really love it. So they're going to follow you.
Mm.
They want to hear you laugh. They want to see you enjoy it because a lot of Bahamians haven't found that thing that makes their life, worth it, or
Complete.
complete, or
Or
makes them feel
uh,
like, okay, I enjoy life, I love life. Like a lot of people haven't
yeah,
found that yet.
yeah.
So that's why you see people
I
watch
like that.
YouTube, because they want to
Mm.
see people who found that. They want to see people who found
Mm.
that energy or have that energy, and they feel pumped watching them. And if you hosting tournaments and people don't feel that vibe coming from you, they just think like, oh, it's just another person trying to make a business and make money off this or whatever, or be the first or whatever. They're gonna be like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna go do something else. Let me go watch my favorite YouTuber. Let me go by my girl. Let me do stuff that doesn't compromise the habits that I have. But when you have people
Mm.
saying, oh, hey, babe, we all going to the movies on Saturday, they'd be like, no, but I got a tournament I gotta go to. Alex gonna host this event. I think I could go to that. When you see them prioritizing my events, they're not doing it because they're getting paid a ton of money. They're doing it because they know that they're going to enjoy themselves and they're going to enjoy the energy that I'm putting out there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like that's the secret. Because a lot of times I like people always ask me that question, and I would sit down and ponder that for the absolute longest. But I realized it come
Mm.
down to the fact that I was putting my all into it. I was all in.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got people to jump on a plane and go with me to the States and compete in tournaments and take pictures together. Is because they felt that energy. I feel like Noah have that with Ultimate. But
Mm.
even sometimes when I come back and people will still ask me like, can you please host a tournament again? Oh,
Yeah.
Alex, we kind of want you to like do this or do that.
Cause nobody could do it like you did,
Because it
man.
was like
Jesus, get
you
over
putting
it.
into it.
You
It
was
was a
like,
lot of
you was like,
energy.
you was like that. You're like that. You're like that toxic. You're like that toxic boyfriend who the gal can't leave
Bro,
alone. Like,
I'm
is
trying to
this?
beat I'm trying to beat everybody with a stick like, no, I want to watch the shows. And they're like, you should come back, and I was like, no. But the thing is, though, I feel bad. It makes me feel bad too. So I'm
Oh,
like, okay, you know what?
oh my
If I'm gonna
God!
feel bad,
Edit.
if I can't give you all my passion, let me give you all my,
Uh,
I can't give you all my passion, let me give you all my money.
I gotta, I gotta preface this by saying, editor, please edit this part out. The dick, the dick is just not good. That's all it is. If the dick is good.
You definitely gotta edit that one out, buddy.
I tell you, oh no, you got it.
You keep coming back to was correct. Because I'm like, man, I can't live. You know what I mean? So
Dude,
I'm
I'm
like,
telling you, man,
God.
because every time I hear a tournament going off, people just be like, Alex hosting it. I'm like, no, Alex. Oh, okay. Well,
It's so
it's like,
terrible,
wait,
man. And the thing
wait.
is, okay, the thing is, I do get, especially I understand what Michael trying to do, and like people bringing up my
Mm,
name, even though he trying to like do something, like he's getting all the paperwork together, he's trying to come from the professional side of it, and I get it, and he's
mm,
trying his absolute hardest, and you know how annoying it
mm.
is for people to be like, well, Alex would, it could get infuriating, and then like he's trying to say, well, like
It
Alex ain't
does.
even here, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah, but
I'm calling his name, like. So I get it. I get it. It's like,
oh
and I can see
man.
he's be annoyed by it.
Uh huh.
And I want to tell him like, but don't be annoyed. But then at the same time too, I want to help the community. It's like I don't want to just jump off, and just leave everybody
Mm,
behind. Because sometimes I feel guilty because it's like a part of my brain, the FGC only now. I'm not going to talk about the other things that Michael did because I think he have other communities too. But the FGC only, I feel as though like I got all these people into the shit, man. Like how could I bring all of these people, lock them in a bar, and then leave and say, have the time of my life. So
So it's not like a bad boyfriend. It's like a drug. It's like a drug
yeah,
deal.
it's almost like
The first one is free.
first one is free, and
The
it's
first
like,
one is
listen,
free.
I can't be,
You're
I
like, oh
can't be
no, you
doing
gotta
this 'cause
pay.
I get no incentive, and I don't want to be taxing people. But at the same time,
Oh
I think
man,
that's life
because it
in
was
general, though. It comes a time as like, you know what, I can't keep doing this thing for free.
for yeah.
Like now that it's burning me out, I gotta see something coming back for me to feel like I should keep doing this. Now as now I'm looking for an incentive. The whole time I've been trying to find the incentive to bring people out. I'm trying to tell people now you need to find the incentive to bring. It's wrong. It's wrong. So
It's a double
yeah,
edged
it's a
sword, is what
double-edged
it
sword.
is.
And the thing is, passions do burn out after a while. It's not that you hate it, but it's just that when you do it, it feels like a chore. And I don't want something to feel like a chore.
Feel like a chore.
And that's
Yep.
how I felt like, because a lot of people want to interview me and stuff too. And I was like, you know what, I might not have the energy. I obviously am displaying energy now because, you're a good host. So you brought it out of
Oh
me.
well, thank you very much. Thank
So I was like, okay, you know what?
you.
I think I could express myself, but I don't want to step on anyone's
No,
toes. Like I don't want people
just
listening to this like this fucking nigga. I I don't want nobody, think like I'm being a
no,
villain.
because I think it's like like for me with balloons. Um, I realized when I was streaming, I wasn't doing balloons a lot, and last year I was doing that plenty. I wasn't doing that much balloons, and one of my friends who is a balloon artist, he came in my stream. One of my friends from the States. I gotta give a shout out to Dave Brand. He's like, hey, I mean, I see you playing your games and stuff, but you're a balloon artist. You got to do some more balloons. I was like, okay, I'll try. So when I went to the States for the balloon convention this year, I started thinking about how I was gonna do things. So I got this idea that I could start doing balloons on the stream and I didn't start streaming until I got all these things in place. Because first off, I'm not streaming on Twitch anymore, and Twitch has way more bells and whistles than YouTube does. So I had to find ways to think out of the box to get it to work. But luckily for me, I have friends who find things, and one of my friends found there's a random timer. It like you set the parameters of when the timer can go off, but it's literally an online random timer. It goes off at any time. You will never know, and no one does. So I set the timer before I start playing the game, and when the timer goes off, whatever I'm doing in the game, I have to stop and make a balloon. And it's killed me so many times. it's like I am now. Anyone watching this video is gonna know I am at one day gonna make a compilation of all the times I've been killed by the timer. Like no matter if I play in a fighting game and the timer go off, I have to put the fight stick down and let the guy just beat the ever loving crap.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's more
Like
content.
I have to go get the balloon. But what I found that did for me is it expanded my creativity and it made me love doing it made me fall back in love with doing balloons because like you said, it was starting to become a chore because it was now a thing that I do to try and make money. I won't lie. That's how it felt to me. And I was like, it was starting to get boring. And when things get boring to me, I kind of drop it. But I didn't want to drop doing balloons because the community I'm already a part of, all of the friends I've made, all of the people I made connections with through, latex manipulation. That, it's like I didn't want to quit that. So when it went, and then I got people in the chat saying, "Oh, make this, make like I did like in my last one, I did Judge Mathis holding Thor's hammer as the gavel, and I was like make them, and I was like take pictures of them and post them on Instagram, and it's like, and like do clips of them for like TikTok and all this, and I like all these things that I make this be cool, and it makes me expand my creativity, and I think personally something like that needs to happen here in the Bahamas. I mean, I understand the issues with licensing and whatever, but I still feel that something needs to happen because I think I told you this. I may have said this to you while I was in the States when it was happening. When we were leaving the hotel, we were on the last day. And that night, the night of the last day when they was having the gala, Frosty Faustings came there. And they were going to play at that hotel. And I was like, wait, because as we were breaking down and people were popping balloons to break down all the designs and stuff, they were setting their stuff up, like stores was getting stuff. I was like, wait, Frosty Faustings, I know about this. What? This is a video game tournament. I see this on Twitch before. So I went and I talked to the guys, and I was like, so I asked them, I was like, what do you do? What do we have to do in the Bahamas to get y'all to come here, like to buy us or anything like that, or like what like? So the lady was like, well, we don't really move like that, but the best thing for me to tell y'all is to start a scene and grow it. Like if y'all having events, stream it all the time. Not even if it's just y'all sitting down at a bar playing a game, or sitting down somewhere playing one game, or in someone's house, stream it. Have all y'all together streaming it, and as it grows, just keep streaming it, because people, ain't nobody can see it right first, but people will know what it is, and then take some money and pay for like some sponsorships, like get some ads out there, let people see that this is a thing that y'all doing.
That's what I was doing.
And like let people know this is actually a thing, and start talking about it and all that stuff. And if one thing you have to try to do too, like, I know the internet is king, but TV is still the prince right now. So you have to try and get something on TV. So I was like, all right. I took all that into perspective, and I was like, all right, cool. So I am trying to adopt some of those practices with my stream, and I try to take, because all of these things is things that I feel as if we've preached ad nauseum to people here in getting the scene going. But what I can say is that we've come a long way from where we was before, and I think that's a good thing, and I think we have to keep continuing to move forward in terms with everything. And I love where we're going, and I hope we keep going the way we're going. I hope we do even better at it. You know what I'm saying?
Michael did a good job. Yeah, I agree with what you said, because Michael did a good job of like trying to put like ads in the paper. And he did a good job of like just doing all of the business aspects of it, putting it all together, putting all of the gaming communities together. He was adamant about trying to get me on Discord, which I wasn't trying to go on to save my, because I hated Discord. But I ended up joining Discord because I got Slippy. And I was like, well, he's like, well, the Slippy community, and Slippy is like, it's just the name of the software that we used to play Melee online.
Okay.
And then it's like, well, in order for you to use Slippy correctly, if you want to play the doubles aspect of Melee, you gotta join Discord. And I learned how to use Discord so quick after that. When I didn't hate Discord when he was telling me to go on it, but because there was something that I really, really wanted, I learned how to use Discord. So I would say what you're saying is true. It's like, people have to find their own reasons as to why they would come into the community, and I feel like word of mouth is something a lot of people don't do. I think a lot of Bahamians are really embarrassed about talking about video games, which isn't something that I'm embarrassed about. But there's a lot of people who are. I tell you, if you go into my office right now, people own heads who I work with will tell you Alex has played Smash competitively. Well, they wouldn't say Smash, but they'd say he's played video games competitively, or he's traveled off to tournaments. And I'm like, most people would never say something like that amongst their co-workers, especially like people who would never understand it. But people in my department know what I do, and these people who don't know nothing about games, they just know like, oh, Alex going on vacation, he probably gonna travel off to a tournament. And most of the times, every job I had, people knew I played video games competitively, every last one, because it's not something that's embarrassing to me. You can imagine if you had a community of people like me who didn't care and they used to talk about their competitive experience, we'd have way more people in the community, but a lot of people are ashamed of that. Like,
I have no idea why
put my
that
face
is.
on that picture.
I didn't know it was that bad, because the worst experience I've had of people being embarrassed of something they like was when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was in the mall. This was the year I graduated. I was in the mall, and I always used to carry my Yu-Gi-Oh cards on me, always, but because I used to hang out at the cage. But I was like free from high school. I could do whatever I want. So I'm in the mall, and it's after school, and I see these boys with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I was like, oh, in the food court. And I was like, oh, okay, let me see what they're saying. So I walk up to them and I be like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? All right? I could see y'all cards or whatever." And I looking at all the cards that they have, and I showing them mine. And all of a sudden, like in less than 3 seconds, they scoop up all these cards and they say, "Gals coming, big gals." I was like, "Well, my doors, dude." When I say that table was clean, That table was like, listen, you couldn't even tell if someone did eat off that table, dog. I'm telling you, they scooped them cards up so quick, and I was like, well, what was
I'm telling you,
that?
it's
See,
almost as
see
though it's
that was like, I was like, wait, and these high school kids, I was like, my God,
yeah.
like,
Which would it
is
would mean
that
a lot
bad?
more to them because it's their
Is
image. You know what I mean? It's that bad,
Is
and it's
that
the
no? But that's the thing, though. I understand like it them being kids and whatever, but the way I look at it is like they could grow up thinking that, and this is where we came from because we're made to feel embarrassed for the things that we like doing. Like you can
yes.
imagine me saying that I like making balloons in high school, and then I have to be made to feel embarrassed because I like doing balloons, and now I am letting go of a money making opportunity because some gals think that what I do is weird
It's weird, yeah.
you know, I'm
Because
like,
it's always the opinion of the gals that matter the most, right? And I get it. I get it. Like, okay, we're straight, whatever. These gals' opinion mean a lot to us, but a lot of the times women respect you when you own up to the things that
to
you
the things
like.
you like, yeah.
Because when you're going to be embarrassed and scared to impress them and stuff like that, they only going to
Mm,
see you as, I hate to say beta male, but that's what they can look at you as, like you afraid to like the things you like.
mm,
A woman's going to come to you and tell you, oh yeah, I didn't want you to know I did like this or that, unless it's like something personal,
mm,
like really really personal to them. But their likes and dislikes, a woman ain't gonna tell you, oh I like The Walking Dead or something. Let's just say The Walking Dead was a stupid show,
mm,
and you think a girl would be like, oh I like The Walking Dead and be embarrassed to say that? No, she's going to tell you what she enjoys.
mm,
Whether you like it or not, that up to you. She's
mm,
the only way that she will be super embarrassed is if she really like you and she know you really hate that thing. But to
mm,
say like the general opinion or the general audience, no, they
mm.
don't. So why is it as a man that you hiding the thing that you love? I got
I think that's because, like I said earlier, we've been ingrained to, and then like it's
yeah.
like even for me in video games, I had to fight to love video games. But I didn't really have to fight to love video games. I just kept that alive because like we have parents who like don't see, who didn't see back then like what video games was, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're just wasting your time playing this
That's
damn game."
yeah,
I
agreed,
tell,
agreed.
listen, I tell people, like I even do this with tourists whenever I go and do a Margaritaville or any event. If I see if I walk up to a table and I see a kid playing like with a Switch or a game on his phone or whatever, and they be like, if I ever hear someone say, "Oh, you can't make any money doing playing those damn games," I am always the one, and whoever hates me for it can say something in the comments. I don't care. I am always the one to say, "Hey, yes, you can actually," and I show them top eights from Evo. I show them like analytics
That's
from
like
different, like all these
different
things.
tournaments.
I
All
show
right.
them all of these things. Like I always show them it, and they like it immediately shuts them down every single time. Like I just be like, "Dude, this ain't the '90s no more, dog. This
Yeah.
we
And
come up now. We
it
come up
was
now."
before, because I was doing what I was doing before esports was even a word that they created. I
You
used to
know?
call it competitive gaming.
Yeah,
And
it's
so when I didn't have any excuse for people to be like, hey, you should do this because there's a lot of money.
uh,
It was only when MLG came out I was like saying that. But really and truly, I did it because I just really wanted to play Smash at a high level. I wanted
mm,
to I think everybody has something that they want to compete at.
mm,
Because I used to be kind of like envious of people who would run track or play baseball and stuff,
mm,
and they would compete with each other. And I was like, man, I wish I could have found that thing that make me want to compete.
mm,
And who knew it would have been the video games I used to play for fun? No,
mm,
I never knew it would have been Smash, but it
mm,
ended up being Smash, and I ended up really loving it. I
mm,
ended up really loving that competition.
mm,
So it's the same thing with Bahamians. I always used to think like we just need to find the ones who love to compete at video games. But because the government doesn't sponsor it, because they're not having the Bahamas versus Jamaica or whatever, well, not until July, of course, because this might be the first one.
mm,
But we don't have that here. And I think like that's what really helps. Like people will follow Carifta because they
mm,
want to see the Bahamas go up against Barbados and Jamaica and the rest of these other Caribbean countries
mm,
because they want to see that international competition. And we don't show that with the video games that we play. You know,
mm,
we'll just show us playing our friends or whatever. And I think what Bahamians want to see is us compete against these international players. So I really hope this $2,000 tournament that I'm going to host, well, I'm not going to host it, but I'm going to be sponsoring. I really hope that it picks up steam and that Michael could kind of get it in the paper and show the results with the Bahamas versus Jamaica versus Barbados, and really kind of like put those videos out there for students in schools to see, because then they'll be like, well, I want my son competing against other countries, because I think like that's the next big step to see
I
it
also
done.
go. I also think the news needs to be there. Like,
Okay,
like
exactly.
as much as you said that they can't. I think the news or news
No, the news
broadcast.
could be there. No, they can't. Like they can't broadcast it. Like
Yeah,
actually have the screen, right?
yeah.
But they could be there recording the people coming to the event. Yeah, they could do that,
And then
and like
interview some
recording,
people.
interviewing players, right?
That'd be great. That'd
Because
be
it'll be
so
good to
good.
like hear player thoughts, even if a Jamaican win.
Yeah,
Like
like.
me did what we could. Me did what we could, but we lost. We lost to Noah. Me did what we could, but
Yeah, Lord. But yeah,
good to be in Bahamas.
I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good for us. And if we get that on ZNS, that'd be an even bit.
It would be
better
good,
thing.
right? So I think that's what Bahamians want to hear. They want to hear about your experience, because a lot of people wanted to hear about my experience going to those U.S. tournaments. And they were fun. You know what I mean? When you competing at that level and the amount of friends that you make, and then like one of the greatest parts about traveling off to tournaments isn't even like the winning or losing, because you would go to a tournament with like 5 friends, right? It was like 5 of us. We'd enter a melee event, and all of our tournaments, like the matches that we have to play would happen at different times. So my own would be like 10 in the morning, then Shannon would be at 12, and then your boy one would at 3, and we all would kind of like do the best we could, right? Because at CEO 2017, everybody played their matches before me. My match was in the afternoon at 4 p.m. And I mean, everybody got eliminated by, like, we all were kind of like standing up in a circle. And I was looking at everybody, and I was like, okay, Shin, how was your matches? And he's like, oh, I went 2-0. And then Derek was like, oh, I went 3-0. And like, I went 3-2. Because he, and then Elrich would tell me I almost did it again, 2-2. And it's like, well, Alex, you was the only one left, but what you think you can happen? And I was like, very scared. So I played my first match against this Campy Fox, and I lost. I was like, I had to go to the losers bracket. And when I went to the losers bracket, they was like, well, you know what? We could all go and get something to eat anyway. I ran through my losers bracket. I tore everyone in my losers bracket. And I ended up making it to top 48. Which is crazy, because making top 48 means you actually made bracket, right? And I eliminated some strong players to do that. I didn't even know I was beating like ranked players in like different regions of Florida.
That's cool.
So I made it to top 48, and I had to play the next day. And like everybody was around me like, I was like, that's the last game, man, Alex. You know what I mean? And I was like, because Michael would do an interview with me. I have the video. And he was like, how do you feel? And I was like, man, I don't feel anything. Because when you don't feel anything, you have to turn your emotions off so you could just play. Because if your emotions on and you're nervous, you messing up your inputs, and you don't see how melee is as a game. You got to be So I was like, okay, I had to turn my emotions off. But the best thing about that tournament too was the fact that we all went to Arby's to get something to eat, right? And we just kind of like sitting down, talking about our experiences, talking about what we're going to do next year, how we're going to come back, what we did wrong, what we need to work on. I don't know why, but that just felt so, I don't know. It felt like a family,
The word is good.
Good.
The word is
right?
good.
It's like you're sitting with your family, and you're just talking, and everybody just telling you like what their goals are. And it's like, well, we all did the best we could. Let's just eat the steak. Let's eat whatever we want to eat. I usually try to eat salads when I'm there, because I'm trying to get my belly, and they making fun of me like, get all this food. Grass. I try to eat salads and eat properly. Like, God, I can be over there for like 4 or 5 days. I try to kill my gut.
No, man.
So so we making like light fun of each other, and we, having like this moment. And I feel like that's one of the things that Bahamians, I think people who go to the States and they run, track athletes and stuff, they experience that a lot, where they go and they eat there, with the people, their teammates. And I feel like Bahamians who travel off, or if that does happen and you experience that, you can know what I'm talking about. Like when you go to an event and all y'all compete, and at the end of the day, y'all decide to go out and just kind of like celebrate. That aspect of it is, oof, that's mind-blowingly crazy good.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you lost, mate, and it's like everybody could just kind of like feel bad together. You know what I mean? It's not like one individual person because
Yeah.
sometimes because when we first went there, we was like, well, this is States, they have a high level play. Like we don't have this in the Bahamas, and so like even if you take one game, you feel good. But as we kept playing, we were like, "Boy, we better than a lot of these players." It started going from, "Boy, at least I take a game," to, "Boy, I shouldn't have lost to that nigga." Like, how I lose it, you mad? Because like I felt that way. I felt that, and I missed that. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm a wait, but like in the meantime, because I can't have that experience going there, I want the Jamaicans, the Trinidadians, the Barbadians, or whoever come in here, I want them to have that in the Bahamas. I want them to say, hey, we lost this tournament. Let's go on the beach. Let's sulk together. Let's be like, hey, we lost to these Bahamians. We got to come back harder next year. And I think like when you have that type of experience, nothing could really take that away from you. Because I remember going out and eating, even with people who wasn't a part of the Smash community. Because remember, Shad them came out with us too.
Okay.
But I think Shad was hanging with the FGC people. Yeah, Shad was with the FGC people. I was with the Smash people. But there was a point where we all came together. We didn't go to get anything to eat, but we were just kind of like talking about our experiences, and then we separated.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, come together.
That was the one I where Dimitri was on Twitch.
Yeah,
that was great. I was watching.
Dimitri was with us the first night.
Don't do what I do, okay, people watching this. I was watching that while I was in the car. I was driving.
Oh,
I had that on my phone. I was like, wait. Like, I looking at the road and I looking at that. And I turned the volume up. I had it playing through the speakers, okay? I was like, oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Dimitri tried his best. I don't think he was playing Street Fighter, though. I think
he was playing King of Fighters.
King of Fighters, right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They just went over there and started.
Man.
They wasn't even focusing on Street Fighter when they went there. They was focusing on other games. Like, what?
Yeah, because,
like, I gotta focus on Street Fighter, and then somebody else was focusing on Guilty Gear. Like, they did enter Street Fighter, but it wasn't their focus. Because I think Minoko was playing, like, Guilty Gear or a different game, and your boy was playing King of Fighters. I was like, okay, I guess this their games.
But that was cool. I like it. All in all, I think it was a good experience.
Trust me, if you was there, you would have been like 10 times more excited.
I wish I was, but I guess that would be fun another time. So
yeah, we could try it.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you for letting me talk to you. I am gonna say right now that I wish the editor luck in editing this to 30 minutes because.
Oh, they're trying to edit this down?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Listen.
We could do a 30-minute segment if you want to, and just call it a casual call.
That for them to do. Let them do.
Yeah, they gotta pick through that. I agree.
I gotta go to work.
Okay.
So that's how that goes. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to say thank you. Like, listen, it's like I know me and you just always talk. That's why I was prepared to have this lengthy conversation with you because I know. Trust me, I know. Every time, even if I go by you to come get my computer fix or get my computer working on.
We definitely
we just be talking. We just be talking, and that's what I like about talking. I don't know if y'all realize this, but when you talk with this man, oh man, it's like y'all has come to some realizations and things like that, and it's like going to church, church that you enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Church where you ain't falling asleep.
There's a lot of inner monologue, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things to get from it. So I hope you guys can take what y'all can take from this and go out there and try to make this community a better place because we need it. We need it in this country. So what I can say right now is peace, love, and hair grease to all you guys. Y'all, please take it easy. I will see y'all again. And that's it. I out. Y'all be safe. I am out here. Good night. Let me stop the recording. I go on.